Our last speaker is Norasit from Line. He's the Chief Commercial Officer at Line in Thailand. We all live and breathe by Line. I guess it's the language of the country, right? So it's going to be very interesting as Norasit takes us through some of the learnings Line has had about what's happening and what will possibly happen in the future. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good afternoon.
Okay. Yes,
Hi, Dev.
you're okay. Sound is good.
Okay. So I can start now?
Yes, please.
All right. Okay, thank you, Dev. All right, let me share the screen. Okay. So today, actually, from the topic, partially I was going to be talking about like what have been changing after COVID in the view of what we're seeing from the data, that from what we're seeing from the trend and also the consumer changing all the live platform as well. And some of the slide was like taking part from like the live event that we had like a live business forum for past like 2 months ago, which is the things that many find out still fresh. I think it's worth for the sharing to the session. So as you all know that after COVID tech change, the world was like changing forever. And the thing is that like it changed everyone and it changed everything completely. And physically we can see this, that like how we're going to be surviving this true. But basically we all survive. But yes, many things changing, like physical phases, they really impact retail, hotel, spa and office, transportation, airline, mass transit, lifestyle, apparel, cosmetic, because people not dressing up. The lipstick is not sellable well because people not really showing their lips. So this is all like a drawback industry that have big impact. And then there's like opportunity as well for like home. People start to gardening, have more pet gym at home or work at home, and food delivery and grocery and packaging is storage. Like shopping, of course, like online contactless payment is really happening in Thailand. Like we never seen it before. So this is like all the trend we just seeing as a customer, but actually the things that have been changed, it changed a lot. And when we want to see in terms of like how the business going to be growing again in this situation, because whatever happened, business need to be growth. So the question would be where we find the growth. So the things that the landscape already changed. So the growth need to be redefined. And to define the new growth, I think we need to looking back where is the world trend actually. And then looking not from like a global perspective only, but also looking from the local eye, and especially like nearby as well, what is going on and what is actually affecting us. So before it's going, I just like want to get you all back like 10 years ago, which is we all exciting and we all talking about globalization. Everyone was saying that it's much easier after globalization, that we can go anywhere where we wanted to go. We can buy anything. We can reach to all technology that we wanted. So everyone is the same. And then is that the overs like globalization, technology is like taking place very quickly, like 3G, 4G, and 5G. I think you all might be old enough like me to know that it takes such a long time before 2G go to 3G. But after 3G, everything is so fast. It's now already like 5G, and in people already start talking about 6G already. So the things that have been moving very fast, and this technology actually driving the world trends, and the globalization is start to reverting back. So what we're seeing is that, and the free trade area is starting to going change in terms of like the currency is starting to less depending on the country because mostly the dollar currency depends on the government. But now it's becoming more of like a medium that we call like a Bitcoin starting up and have like all cryptocurrencies is flourishing out as well based on like excel of technology and telco speed. And as mentioned that globalization is used to be in free trade area. And then we all now like experienced before that the free trade area is not really existing and we can get like trade war coming more and it's no longer one power, but it's more like two powers get fighting. And of course, we all get affected, regardless or not. And the thing is more interesting is that once that this like things is going on, and then came along is the COVID-19. It's just the COVID-19 is just making us see things clear, much more clearer. That like where is the globalization? Are we are still in the globalization? Once that we cannot even walk out our door, cannot go anywhere, even out of our place. So actually the COVID-19 was like making us see the world again in the redefining the trend that we're seeing is that what we call is that decentralization. But it's not decentralization in the way that we thought, but the decentralization is what excels by technology because the technology is fast enough, the telco speed enough that we not really have to be together to drive things. And things have been like seamlessly connecting and the time is right. So you see, people is now become a new human that we call. So they are centralization, decentralization. They have their own favor. People in this region have much different perspective and different insights compared to the other part of the world. And actually, this is like not the trend, but we're seeing that this kind of the lifestyle collectively is getting bigger and bigger. It's become more like a bigger norm because it used to be have like some call like we starting to see a long tail. We start to see like a tribe, but the tribe is getting bigger and bigger, and then it's become a community, and those community is acting strange, and even other part of the world not understanding. Well, I'm actually there is like I have the examples you're showing here. Interestingly, from the Thai behavior. So you're seeing that this one just like to showing up in terms of like ecosystem. We are like finding all many details that we see that there's like many people who's like using the service and have like different perspective and character. And one that I want to point it out that really interesting as like growing so fast in Thailand is the characters what we call like boy love boy female. What does that mean? What does that mean is that a typical female that 18 to 35 who love to see boy and boy make out. Is that strange? And it might be things that or might be just like small part of the community that love this kind of thing. But from what we're seeing is that in collecting data from live TV, which is now is the major source to see like boy love series, and beginning from the years of this year until like past 2 months ago, we're seeing that 18 million unique user coming in to watch boy love series. So this is like really new human. And we go to check more first, like there is not only in Thailand, it's become like an Asian phenomenon. And even time out saying that the boy love is no longer a subculture, but it's more like becoming a trend that's like adapting Asian and might be globally soon. Who knows that? So for Light Thailand, we have like the team inside that we call Light Insights. that normally discover and finding the study that really interesting based on our data, and we want to get more information because the thing is that this kind of study is not really have anyone study before, because this is not coming from the West, and it's not coming from outside the country, but it's coming from inside the country. It's like it's getting spreading out. So from what I can getting some to share, why this is happen, and what is this? So like briefly just want to share that in terms of the Y economic that we call, the Y series economy is like divided into three parts of the target, which is the first part we would call the fandom. The fandom, the one who watch live about Y series on both TV and digital. And they also like talk, and it was like following up and have like fan meeting. There is like hardcore of the fan, we call fandom. And there's the core watcher, which normally like used to watch at least one time online. And now might see maybe like watch rerun sometime. And they was like normally talking about the Y series in with amongst friends. And there's like new adopters, because it seems a lot of people watching, they don't want to know like what is that, and then they go to watch online. So this is like the ecosystem of like the type of the watcher, and how they are serious for the fandom. We have like the interview with some of the hardcore fandom, and they have like incredible character in the way that they not only watching, but they really support the actor in the way that they like always buying things for them. And there's something they said like they when they met the actor, they need to have something for them as a gift, even though they not have things to eat. That's like very intense and really insight, and it might be like, look too much, but actually if you have like a hardcore fan Boy Love series, and you can talk to those people, you might see uh, familiarity, like commodity as well, like good to be like this. And then there is like you can see it on the left hand side that there is a plenty of the Y series now in Thai market, and then like all the producer want to producing it, and then who would know that which one going to be popular. So this is more like the criteria, and I would not like go into much detail, because actually we have this white paper published publicly. I can send you the link later for the full report. But more importantly, I think in terms of the branding, because the thing is that because it's a Y series, because it's the boy love, I think that how the brand seeing this as an opportunity. But it's more importantly when the brand sponsor the series, or when the brands like buying the tie-in products in the series, how the brand perceiving from the customer point of view. But actually, it's not that bad, because the brand was perceived as a trendy, was perceived as a new lifestyle, cheerful and popular. And some of the group that might see like especially for the fandom, that they love the actor so much that sometimes they hate the brand, because the brand was like pushing too much for the actor to, what do you say, advertising the products that might be not, I mean, not look fit with them, those kind of things, especially might be into the cosmetic part. So if you see that, we also go further in as well to want to ask them like, if it's the same quality of brand A and brand B, and if the brand B buying or have like a tie-in products in the series, do they gonna buy it? So the answer is almost unanimous. Everyone gonna be buying, everyone gonna be supporting, everyone willing to test if it's the same quality of the products. So actually, it's helping products in terms of the testing, and also in helping the product in terms of like differentiation. And then it's come to like the key question would be like, what would be the best how to use the product to putting in the series? We're all asking about like product movement, product experience, and special scene. And everyone seems that there's a pro and con. But most effectively is more of like a product scene in terms of the special scene, because in the special scene, then you can more decide how to put the products, and the scene is not part of the series, so you can really decide how to put the scene. Some scene that the consumer might wanted to see between the actor interaction to each other, but it's not really have it in the actual scene. So the brand might be sponsored to have the special scene that the consumer wanted to see. So the brand would be like getting more favor toward on those parts. This is most effective that we see from the research. And we also seeing that the where is the watching. So of course this is like more toward our products, but actually it's the 80% in generally is the boiler series is watching through OTT TV, which is the online, because might be in the term of the series itself, it might need to be watched in private. And I think that we also starting to see that the family now in Thailand, because of course the father would be not would not definitely not watching it, but now we're starting to see that the daughter watching it, and then the mother start to watching it too. And we're starting to see that the disease trend become bigger and bigger. So might be we don't know that this is how far this is going, because I think this is already become as the main trend. So this is like how we seeing that a part of example that we see how the new trends is coming in terms of like after new normal. I think there is more other trend as well that we share in our business forum, but this piece of paper just like want to pick it up and then showing that the decentralization is already here. And what it means is that is doesn't matter how the world is running, and it's no longer globalization. It means people not really repeating and following each other anymore, because with all the speed, everyone can reach to everything what they wanted. And now it's become more and more important for local to listen to what people really want locally, because whatever favor or favorite in one country is no longer really hit in another country. And it doesn't matter are they producing the film or not, because it used to be like a soft power, but now it's becoming more into of the local power. And this is become a key as well that we see that it's going to be a key successful brand that need to be listened very carefully for what their local client need, and success might be there to drive the success. Because the thing is that everyone would now want everything differently in decentralization. I think that would be all I want to share.
Can I ask you a question? Obviously, some of the other speakers have also talked about personalization and about the new ways we've got to look at segmentation and separate of different markets. And I'm just wondering if you could just, you've shown a great example, is it affecting the whole population, or do you see that trend more with young people or different types of groups of the population, or is it everywhere?
Well, I think it's the fit well with the just like a previous section that Sassy shared about like the is generation view. I can see that for some it was like emphasized on LGBTQ. More of the freedoms, so it's mean more in the Asian culture is starting to opening up. But I think more importantly is that this kind of the contents it's not really about boy making out as like a gay scene, but it's just more like a typical guys that seem to have like something feeling to each other, and all the girl just seems that happy to watch that.
Yes.
And I was like, what is that?
Right.
we,
Right. Yeah.
we never understand, until it's getting big and big and bigger. And you can see now like population in Thailand is around like 70, and population that can reach online is around like 40 millions. And now it's like 18 millions watching it, this kind of series. And what's happened with Thailand, and what's happened with Asia as well, because this is not only in Thailand. Korean is getting crazy, like Japan is getting crazy, and there's like China is big market is getting crazy too. And then Thailand become the exporting this kind of the contents. And it's supposed to be like, it used to be like, it's supposed to be the US. It's supposed to be like a big nation that they have like a big production that they're gonna be making the trend. But this is becoming like, oh, this is just small country. It started small. So that's why I was like showing that now the world is changing. It's not about like who playing the bigger role, because it's nothing about like one pole dominant. It's become like decentralization. As it becoming that if this trend happen, let's say in Brazil, and this is fit me well in my character, I gotta be adapt it quickly.
Right. I get it. Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting how a number of our different speakers today, in some way, talked about that same sort of trend and this decentralization and the massive segmentation or spreading out of interests. And it's really interesting too that because of the technology that different speakers have talked about, we all have the ability to find very niche. We think it's our own special niche interest, but then what happens is that somebody at Line or at Kantar or somebody finds out actually that really niche interest is 18 million people, but everybody, the people, that 18 million people think that they're unique in that interest. And so we have to think differently about the way in which we go about talking to them, I guess. Very interesting.
And the view of research is making more interesting, because like we're not like doing the research with like, you know, a boring thing, you know, asking about like what you think about like the consumption, what you think about like general like purchasing trend. But now it's like, oh, this is new. We not really understand why it's to happen. And what is more important is that once the behavior change, it's really changed the way that they like shopping. It's not about like a common like inside shopping. It's common. It's coming from a different point of view, like different trend, which is like, oh, this is really interesting. And one is like cumulatively, it's become a bigger size. When it's sizable in terms of the commercialized, then it becomes a big impact to like bigger society.
Kanaki, do you have something to say? Because you're on mute. Did you want to say something? No, you're on mute.
Right. Since we have Kuned with us, I'd like to take this opportunity to take out some of the key points that you raised and to discuss some of it. So you talk about the new normal and it's here to stay. So I would like to understand what are the three most important things for brand for them to survive the new normal in your point of view?
Well, the thing is that brand need to be understanding the change. And as you see that different vertical have different risk and opportunity. And the thing is the brand that can really understand the risk and can taking opportunity is going to be really benefit. We have one of like for passing the business forum that we sharing all the trend. We also like announcing like award for like a best like brand as well. And one of the brand that got the award is Volvo. And the reason that we giving to them is that they was taking the chat commerce like in the way that we never seen it before. So we know it's like Volvo is the luxury car. And who would imagine that you can sell the luxury car with average like more than 2 million Thai baht by chat? And I never heard that before. And the thing is that this is not the thing that we was like prep them or teach them. This is like we provide a platform. They was like coming to use, and it was just like setting up their own, and it was testing. COVID is bad. Everyone is bad, but they like can really sell the car by chat, and they're still doing it as well. And this is become like, I would say, if we're gonna be saying that, oh, are we following WeChat? I would not saying that we deny, or we're not saying that we say yes, because I would say this is more like interesting Thai way, and also the Asian in the cover as well. So this kind of example of the brand that really can understand what changed and take advantage of it. It doesn't matter, it need to be live platform. But I would say that this all like encouraging marketers gonna win the game. And the thing is that game is changing so fast. So the thing is that everyone was running. So now it's becoming like very competitive for the marketer, because if you stay still or if you run slow, you're gonna be fall apart.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And you talk about the boom of the Y consumer, right? The Y series. It's very interesting. So what do you think for in Thailand, what leads to this boom? Like what drives it? Is it because there's higher demand, or is it because there are more choices and more content around this area?
Well, that is a really good question. And my thinking is that I'm not really have clear reason to think about why it's coming. But the thing is that what I can tell only what we seeing, what happening. Because the thing is that it starts small. If you remember, it's actually starting from offline. Actually, it's starting from like Channel 9. They're producing like a kind of like boiler series as alternative series on top of normal soap opera that always win the rating, and then come off for the alternative. And then I would say it's starting to be more like after the K-pop phenomenon, and then it start to more like look like a pretty similar, but it's just more like instead of the listening to the song and was a dancing, following, it just now it's like they love the I don't want to say they love the texture, they love like the contents, and then there was like also attached to the actor as well in the in the pretty much the same way that they attach the K-pop singer. So and those become what I want to say is more like Asian thing, and even now I still cannot understand, because the thing is that originally when we producing live TV content, basically we open for like a alternative producer. So anyone can come to do anything on the platform. And then they want to like produce something fresh, and we not really know like where is the watcher. So the thing is just go and then trying out. And then what is happened is that we all get wrong, because the thing is that originally we thought like LGBTQ people would be the main user to watch, which is very small portion, very unique user. But once that we starting to track and see demographic, we was like, what? Why this female like 18, I can't understand. Why this female 35? So basically they're already like office worker, married, have kids. Why they love this kind of series? I have no idea, and I still have no answer as well. and not only a few of them, like many of them.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see how it move forward in terms of how this trend grow in the future as well. Because like you said, it's very interesting how the content that this group like to watch is changing, and it's like coincide with the other changes in the society as well. So really interesting. So thank you for that. Back to you, Dave.
So that really interesting session, there, and I'm going to be. I want to read the white paper, so I hope I can get a hold of it and understand it and follow more about what you're learning. Really interesting stuff. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of the speakers today.